So imagine that this skein of wool is your life. Beautiful and orderly, everything going the right way, just for you. Beautifully coloured, you have both the light and the dark, but it's all in balance. And you feel confident and strong in who you are and everything that's happening in your job, in your career, in your relationships. Everything's just ticking along just beautifully. And that's wonderful, living in the light. But then sometimes the shadow creeps in. This may be an unfair situation, a challenge. So maybe that wonderful job that you have suddenly comes undone. It may be a relationship, it may be a financial decision that doesn't quite work out the way that you hoped. And the most difficult times is when it wasn't your fault. Something happens and then suddenly your life just begins to unravel. In these times, it's important to still live in the light, even though it may feel that you're actually living in shadow and darkness. And so when you're in this state, the very first thing the ego wants you to do is to clutch, to hold on, despite the more you hold on, the more everything just seems to unravel. And so you grasp at that one little end of the life as you know it, and you hold on and you try and you trying to hold on, and the more you hold on, the more it comes into this mess, and the more it becomes messy, the more you hold on, and you just want it to end, to go back the way it was. Let's fix it, just try and fix it. But the more you try and fix, the messier it gets. And the messier it gets, the more you try and hold on. In these moments, the most important thing that I've found in my own journey is to, rather than clutch at that end for dear life, let's just try and work through it. So take a deep breath and think, so who can help me on this journey? It may be a friend, a family member, someone you knew a long time ago that you decide to message and ask them for help. It's amazing how much those old friends that we haven't spoken to for many, many years can come through for us in these messy times in life. So don't be afraid to reach out. That maybe that neighbour that you only just wave to every now and again suddenly becomes a very close friend of yours and helps you out in a very tight spot. So don't discount the tiny acquaintances. It may have even been someone you only met once. Someone who, I remember I've received a lot of help in my career from a person who simply interviewed me once and ironically didn't employ me for that job because they told me that they felt that I was more suited to a different position, and they supported me in alternative applications, being a reference for me, an advocate for me, when they had only really just met me. So sometimes people come across our paths in unexpected ways that support us on the ongoing journey. Sometimes it's knowledge. Finding free websites, books, talking to a librarian. Sometimes it's by giving that you receive. Where can you volunteer? Who else needs help that you can help them? I was a classroom teacher, and a contract of mine ended. And so I was unemployed for a short time. And I simply rang a local primary school and asked them if they would like me to volunteer, if they had any opportunities for volunteering. I went in and did 1 day of volunteering, and I ended up working there for 8 years. Just from that one reach out, that 1 day of volunteering, where I didn't expect that connection to be made. I didn't expect anything from it. I just wanted to give to the community so that they may remember me, maybe give me a reference. And that's one of those things, is that a lot of those times, those scary, messy times in life, you don't actually know if, it's going to work out. But just remember, the light's always here, even when there's casted shadows. The light's still shining through that shadow all the time. So what are some ways that you have found ways to overcome the mess that was made in your life? Sometimes it's something that happens to us that someone else has done. And other times it's mistakes that we have made ourselves. But regardless, whenever there's a mess and there's that feeling of there must be someone to blame, even if you're not sure who that person is, then it's an opportunity for forgiveness to happen. And it's easy to feel that, forgiveness is a cop-out. Don't forgive people because it just lets them get away with it. And sometimes there's that feeling, and it's most important to forgive ourselves. You don't even have to say it to the person. Just in your own head, during your own yoga practice or meditation practice, or even as you're walking down the street, just say it quietly. I forgive you. I forgive that person. Say the person's name. For whatever they have done, I forgive them. And what that does is it doesn't let them get away with it. It just simply allows you to be able to release it, even if it's just a tiny little bit. Just finding those tiny little places of ease in this mess. Because when we find these little places of ease, then we suddenly realize that life is actually, bit by bit, tiny bit by tiny bit, becoming more and more ordered. It looks different to how it was before, but this is still our life. It's still the same beautiful colors, the same light and the dark, the same balance. It just looks a bit different now. It's just taken a different shape. And as we keep going along this path, very slowly but surely untangling it, finding another person who can help us, another resource, finding someone else that we can help, that can help us on our way, finding a little bit more forgiveness for that person or for yourself, or for lots of people. It may have been people long ago in the past, because that's the thing with life messes, is that it can bring up, it can throw up all kinds of things that we've gone through in the past that we haven't quite forgiven. And then bit by bit, you begin to make sense of this situation. It's not so much a mess anymore. If you look closely, it's just suddenly just these little loops that you go through, and a little bit more ease. And you wind that little bit up, and then you find the next little hurdle to jump over. So you're not trying to solve the whole the whole mess all at once. Just tiny bit by bit, decision by decision, conversation by conversation, yoga practice or meditation practice. Each day, just working a little bit more at reshaping your life. And keep going, and you will do it. And also reflect back on times when this has happened before. It may not have been such a big mess, or maybe it was something even bigger that happened. And just take heart that you got through it before. You'll get through it again. And you will shine because of them. What you thought was a mess, or a mistake, or the worst thing ever, has actually become an opportunity. It's shaped your life in a way that you actually become grateful for, because it led you in a new direction where you got to meet new people, sometimes travel, sometimes start a new life in a way that is a surprise to you. You'll be amazed that over time, with the more people you meet, the more you focus on the light, the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you go down this path and find the opportunities along the way, reinventing yourself or the way you used to do things. You suddenly realize that there's more ease. Things start to flow a bit more. Things come together a bit easier. You get a new job and you realize that the people you work with now are just so much happier and fantastic to be around. And as a result, you are actually doing your best work in this new workplace. Or that relationship that ended under a cloud. Well, you actually needed that person out the way because they weren't supposed to be in your life long term. They were simply one of life's teachers along your path. And you're now so much happier with a new friend or new partner that you've met along that beautiful journey of self-discovery, picking through what looks like a mess but is actually an adventure. And sometimes with difficult financial situations, you suddenly realize how creative you can be. You can begin that business. You can begin that side hustle. It's fantastic. And suddenly you're just feeling so blessed and grateful, and you look back and think, wow, look how far I've come through this. What felt like a quagmire is actually the path of gold. And you suddenly realize that the light is beginning to expand in your life. The shadow is receding. Using your intuition, your inner guidance, what resonates with you, what sings to you, what gives you ease along this journey. Truly amazing beauty comes from your life taking a completely different shape, and you realize that now, as your life is in this new shape, it's now the shape it's meant to be, to become completely useful for your new objective. Because like a skein of wool, you cannot actually knit directly from a skein of wool. It doesn't flow smoothly. It'll affect the tension. The garment that you're knitting doesn't come together as it should when you knit from a skein of wool. It simply will become a gigantic mess, and you will not get the uniformity in the stitches as you do when the wool is in a completely different shape, in the ball of wool. So next time you have any difficulties, your life unravels, especially if it wasn't your fault, just know that by starting at the beginning, winding it up bit by bit, making sense of all the little knots, all the little challenges along the way. And then there comes a time when, as you keep progressing, as you keep building, growing, meeting new people and overcoming life's challenges, giving you more scope to be more creative and to do things of true beauty in your life. Things that you can then gift to other people, such as this beautiful sock, will become a wonderful gift for my mother. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next professional hippie yoga video. Many blessings.